Welcome, everybody, to the first episode of Fun Fetti's Free For All. I am your host, Alex, aka Fun Fetti. My first guest today is a fellow drag king, Mr. Capital Pride 2023, Omari B. Johnson.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me here. Yeah.
I'm really excited because obviously we got to work together quite often. I guess this past year, anyway, like more or less. And I'm curious. So this is a lot more for me than it is for the public. But pretty much it's very chill, just talking about the character Omari and what the behind the scenes stuff, really. So and like
how I came to kind of
like your origin story and stuff.
Yeah, my origin story. Okay. I guess to go back. So originally from Toronto. I moved here. I didn't really know anything about drag at all. I had met some friends, and one of them was Miles Zinnia.
Okay.
And we were all hanging out. At that time, I didn't really know that that's who they were. And we were all hanging out, and we were like dancing. I was like, oh, wow, you've got like some dancing, like, have you ever thought of, and like they literally were like, yo, have you ever thought of like doing drag? And I was like, I was assuming it was like drag queen, and I was like, I'm not getting into no skirt and no heels. I can't do heels. I can't remember the last time I even touched a heel.
Yeah.
So I was like no, and they're like, no, like drag king, and I was like, what the hell is that?
Absolutely. By the way, you can cuss on here too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
This is not necessarily for children.
I was like, what the fuck? So I was like, okay, then maybe then maybe I should look into it and kind of figure out and see if this is something I can do. And then I looked it online, and I was like, oh, this is actually kind of cool. And I was looking up like black drag kings to kind of see what their vibes were, and I could kind of tell their vibes were more like R&B, and to be quite honest, that's likely where I was going anyways. Like, let's be real, like I only really for the most part listen to R&B music in life, so that made sense for me, and it comes more naturally. And a lot of the music that I do is like from the 90s or the 2000s, because that's kind of what I grew up with. Mm-hmm. So it feels comfortable with me, and I a lot of the songs I already know, so I'm just like, I just like pick a song and I'm like, yeah, I'm just like kind of grooving to it. So
I feel like that's also kind of like my take when I do Fun Fetti is I've listened to so much music growing up, and I'm like, obviously there's a bit of a box when it comes to drag kings in terms of like the type of music that's being played compared to a drag queen anyways. So for me, it's like I like doing songs that I like, whether they're sung by a woman or not. And if it's a song that I already know, I have that much more confidence because I already know the words.
100%. Yeah. It saves you from having to like learn the lyrics, because sometimes it's like, sometimes I don't have time for that.
No.
And I know so many people like will recommend songs, and I love that. The only thing I'm just like, that means I gotta learn a song.
I'm definitely guilty
I'm
of
like,
that.
I've already have a repertoire of like so many other songs. I'm like, or I could just do a song that I already know and I don't have to learn a new one.
Yeah.
But, I think I'm gonna maybe try to get out of that a little bit to try some other new songs or other songs that people have recommended that I think would be really good. I just never got into it. But
I've been in this sort of drag circle for going on to 3 years now, and I've only performed drag for 7 months. But as photographer and stuff like that, we're going on to 3 years, so that's pretty big. Time flies. But I feel that a lot of people have evolved in terms of not necessarily music choices, but like the songs that they do, because obviously when it works, but you perform quite often. Like, I feel like you don't, at least within this year, I've seen you quite a bit, and it's never like, oh, Omari's doing the same number again. It's always
it's true. Yeah. For the most part, I try to do different songs, and I used to be really good at this. I haven't been good actually more recently, but I would like normally make a list of the songs and the shows that I do and what songs I do, so that I'm at least not doing the same ones recently. The only caveat to that is that I've noticed that whenever I have done like a live sing, I only have a few songs that I can confidently know that I can sing and dance and move around and not get distracted and lose my place in the song. So those ones, there's only like 2 songs that I can probably confidently do. Yeah. So those ones could be repeated probably more so if people have seen me live sing drag. If it's not a Christmas one, let's be real, because I know there's only one Christmas song that I will sing live. But if it's not that, then it's likely like the Bruno Mars songs, and like those are the ones that I probably do multiple times.
Your name, Omari B. Johnson. Yeah. How did we get to there, and had you had different choices before landing on that one?
Yeah, so it was really hard because, I was looking at all the different other drag kings that I saw kind of internationally, which I didn't know it was like such a big thing. And I wanted to kind of make it a little bit more personalized. A lot of the names were, obviously, a lot of them tend to have like innuendos, or they're kind of like a play on words, right? And for me, I'm not that person. So for me, it was more so, okay, let me do something a little more personal for myself. So what I did, so the first name, Omari, for those who know and maybe those who don't know, so there was in the, I guess must have been probably early 2000s, B2K, like an R&B group of like 4 guys. They sang and danced. Yeah. So, and they were really good. I felt like they're probably almost better at dancing, like as a group, than almost singing. Almost like BTS is with like K-pop or like whatever, that, right? Or like a lot of the Korean pop, which I'm kind of a little bit into it as well in terms of Korean pop. But I noticed that like they're really good at dancing, and they're great singers, but like there's so much focus on the dancing. So B2K was like a lot about the dancing. So I was like, I enjoy dancing, like not obviously to the level of them, but one of the lead singers his name was Omarion.
Okay, yeah.
So his name went by Omarion. Now, his real name is Omari, apparently. But I don't know why he like made it longer. That's fine. So anyway, so that's where I got that from. Then the Johnson, I was like, I just Googled like common last name, but for a black person. I wanted it to be like, I was like, what's a black person's common last name? And Johnson was a common last name for just, I guess, African American or African Canadian people. And then the B part, I was like, just in case I wanted to like make an innuendo, because like B could stand for Big Johnson or something like that. So I was like, I could always, if I wanted to later, or just make B a different word. So I had time to like think about what I wanted the B to be. The B to be, yeah. So that's why I did that.
I love that.
It's Omari B. Johnson. But I don't know, I might just also just drop the B. Johnson, and I might just go Omari. I feel like, I might do like a Beyonce and a Madonna kind of thing,
It's funny because earlier Nat and I were talking, and I said every time that we have conversation in terms of like, hey, like, I feel like I'm going to get in on something, or my chances might be better because I know certain people, because I know recently you applied for the Toronto Pride, right? We talked about that the other day.
Yeah.
And I said, yes, sure, you might know some people that could like essentially vouch for you and say, yeah, they're really good. But at the same time, you're Omari B. Johnson. And I said to Nat, I'm like, it reminds me of that interview with Beyonce where they're like, and you're Beyonce. And she goes, thank you. And so I'm like, that would have been the best response.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, I feel like, yes, it's definitely weird hearing people compliment you in general, not like you, but like you, because it's like, you work so hard in doing something that you don't really expect it. It's really nice to hear, but it's kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, thanks. Like, yeah, I'm good, but I'm not trying to be cocky. So it's a little like, I'm trying to be humble, but I'm also, yeah.
Yeah, it's true, and I get that. I do get that, and a lot of people, and obviously, I am so identifiable outside of drag. I find we're to the point where even in other like queer spaces, people will call me out to be like,
No, you
"Oh
can't
my
hide.
God, I love you," and like the lookout is like
The lookout's
obviously
the lookout's the worst for this.
The swizzles is obviously.
The second you walk in, and this is not, and listen, this is no shade towards BJ, but anytime BJ is hosting and Omari walks in to lookout, he stops the damn show and goes, "Hold on a second," and
like,
then says the whole spiel
actually,
like every
yeah.
time, and I'm just like, but I feel like I feel
great.
like that's the goal in terms of like what you would want in as a public figure, is that yes, you walk into places, you may not have like that sort of privacy or that incognito mode because you're so recognizable, but at the same time it must feel amazing walking into some place and knowing that the amount of time that you've put into this industry in its way has sort of like paid off.
For sure. You know, it's very flattering. Like, you know, don't get me wrong. I'm not like, oh, I hate being like seen in public. I have no private life. The fans swarm me everywhere I go.
I'm autographing fucking groceries now because I'm being bothered.
I have no privacy. No, it's you know, it's not like that. You know, it's great. You know, I love the fact that there are people that, you know, enjoy what I'm doing, and, you know, I'm able to like share my joy for either songs that maybe even some people don't actually know. So sometimes I feel like I'm like, yo, like I'm showing y'all like a genre that maybe you don't even necessarily know. Or I know some people that they're like, they'll come up to me and be like, yo, I love this song from back then, like I haven't heard this in years. And I'm like, that's the thing. It's like it's very nostalgic to like bring back those songs because I love listening to them. I don't listen to them like all the time. Half of the time when I do drag is when I get to re-listen to them again.
Yeah.
So I'm just like in it, and I just like when I hear the song, I'm like transported back in that time where I'm like watching the music videos on TV, because it was so big on music videos on TV, and I would watch it and I would record it and then I would like rewind it. And that's how old I am, but whatever. Same. Like rewind the VHS tape and like replay it and then try to like learn the choreo and stuff like that. So it's really like, it's very flattering for people to like compliment, because that means I'm doing something right, and I'm not like, they're pleased with whatever I'm doing.
Is it kind of weird that I like that drag kings and MX performers are still a little on the underground sort of vibes? Like I feel like there's a little bit of extra sort of like, I don't even know how to explain this emotion, but it's like now that drag is, I would say it's mainstream now, because of RuPaul's Drag Race and other shows like that.
I think so, and I think it's becoming, even with like brunches, I'm noticing that a lot.
I love a good brunch.
It really opens up people to seeing brunch in the daytime. Mm-hmm. Like everyone was like, oh,
this is
the drag is at night, so it's scandalous and it's naughty, and they're gonna take your kids and convert them. And like when it's in the day, it's like, oh, there's sunlight. Like, oh, they're just like dancing around. They're literally just dancing around. There's no thrust, like, well, maybe, but there's no like, you know, grinding on people and what they might assume might happen in a night show. It doesn't happen at a brunch show, right? To absolutely. A degree, I think. At least not the ones I go to. Yes, right? Because like obviously, I think some of the brunch ones, it depends, right? There could be brunches that are all ages, and there could be brunches that are 19 or over, where they, you know. So obviously that depends. So I obviously don't want to say a blanket statement of brunches, but I think it does give a different light, because then it also opens people to more people who might not already be in the community going to brunches. I think that's what a lot of people tend to notice, is that maybe I think for brunches there tends to be more people who aren't in the community
Yeah.
that go to those,
it's a little
because
bit,
it's more like take the girlfriends, or like going like a brunch of I feel like brunch is such a thing for people to do in general, just as friends. And if people are dancing around you, then they're like, sure.
I will say, speaking personally, I love entertainment with my food. Like whether it's whether it's like a live show or I'm watching TV while eating, I just can't help it. So like being at a brunch, there's that little bit of extra like joy in my experience, because like I love food.
Best of both worlds.
I love food, and I love food, and I love entertainment. So speaking of brunches, because I'm going to go through this list here, you created and co-produce Capital Kingdom, which does have a lot of brunch shows. So how did that come about? Like what sparked that sort of like, oh my God, I should produce an all king show?
So it came about with me first, obviously getting into drag. I've been in drag, this is 5 years actually, this month. 5 years this month now. Yeah, so this is my 5-year drag anniversary. But anyways, so at that time it was like a lot of the years I was doing drag was during the COVID online years. So that was a different, that was very different to perform.
Life. COVID was
COVID was a weird time to perform in your living room and like being your own videographer and your lighting and your sound and all of that. Like that was intense. But that, when obviously things started to open up again, it was like, me and some other kind of drag kings, we were talking, and I would talk to different drag kings, and they're just like, oh, and I'm like, I'm noticing there's like a lot, like, I'm like, there's not a lot of diversity in the shows, like the shows that were at that time being produced, and we're talking a year and a half ago, because we started it a year and a half ago. So I noticed it wasn't what it is now, where you see a lot more other productions. And I'm like, this should, like, we should be able to do this.
Yeah.
We should be able to come together.
There's a lot of risk and reward when it comes to doing something that's not really being done. So
So I reached out individually to like 4 other drag kings, because for me, I felt like I was still kind of new to this scene, where I'm like, I don't, like, even new to Ottawa in general. So I was like, I don't really know what was before, and so I reached out to Miles, knowing that they had the experience. There was a Phoenix Rider at that time, and then Oliver Twisted. So it was the 4 of us, and that's kind of where it all began. We met up and we're like, okay, let's do this. How do we do this? How do we create this? And then the 2 of them kind of ended up leaving for other reasons, Phoenix and Oliver. And then it was just me and Miles for a while. But it's difficult to do just the both of us. We knew that Joe was amazing, and like they were at that time, they had, I think, I don't even know, maybe almost a year of drag prior to, no, a year and a half or something, because I'm just trying to think when they first started. But anyways, regardless of that, we reached out to them and was like, yo, like, I feel like you might bring something different to our kind of group, and maybe we can work together. So we brought him on board, and now it's the 3 of us. So it's and I feel like now we've got a good little system going, like in terms of we've got our responsibilities, we're able to kind of work, we chat kind of twice a month to kind of go over shows and go over like future shows and the concept of stuff, and we've got some stuff coming up for next year as well.
I know. So I signed up. I saw the application. I'm just gonna
just throw it in there, and it's funny because like we see people in drag performers, and we're still kind of trying to go through, because every time we have currently a list going of the drag kings that we have hired, just to kind of keep a list of who we've hired, who we haven't hired. But this list, we keep adding. There's more people, like even people are keep messaging being like, they'll be drag queens and drag like MX performers being like, oh, like I'm thinking of doing like drag, being a drag king, like let me know. And I'm just like, okay, we got another person to add. It's just like this list keeps going, which is fantastic, which is great. So that means we're just gonna have like an influx of so many different people to kind of choose from when it comes to shows. But it also means that some people who are interested in performing, or maybe just interested in hosting, which is some new thing that we wanted to kind of highlight, then at least we're giving people that opportunity instead of asking each person, do you want to host? No. Okay. Do you want to host? Okay. No. But do you want to like, just be like, hey, do you want to host? Anybody? Just let us know if you want to host, and then we will keep it in mind. And like, you know, do you prefer the brunch or the evening show? Like, what is the type of show you would want to, because maybe it depends, right? And like if you're not feeling all ages, because you'd have to obviously be on the more PG side. If you're not good at filtering yourself, then you're gonna be a host for the night show. Then that's fine.
I hope when I eventually get into Capital Kingdom and we do, and it's for a brunch, I strongly encourage people to tip me in breakfast potatoes, please and thank you. Those are delicious. Shout out to Irene's Pub.
Yo, Irene's Pub is holding it down. They've been really great in accommodating to us and understanding, and they we've really never had any. It's a great space, and and it's really great for the queer community, because I know Small Fish also has their monthly shows there as well. So like they're definitely
they're well
I would
equipped,
say an advocate and definitely a supporter of the queer community.
The location's really nice too. Like mind
Bank,
you, obviously with that area, it's a bit hit and miss with the parking, but in terms of like what's around there, it's amazing. You step outside those doors and you're surrounded by a variety of things. I love that area of I guess you could call it downtown.
I guess
Side
it's like
town.
south town. I don't know. It's kind of a little more south, but like down. I guess it is downish. Yeah.
So we talked about the origin of Omari. Do you remember your debut?
Well, it's funny. Yeah, I do remember my debut, because it was at Night of Lights, December 2019. It was a Christmas show. So I did the one song I did was, and my mom was visiting. So my mom was visiting at the same time. It just happened to be that she was visiting that weekend, and I was like, well, if you come this weekend, I'm performing in this like show. So you want to come? Yeah. So she's got to see me perform drag. Yeah. So, and that was also my first time. So that added to the degree of nervousness and anxiousness. But also, not only that, so my mom was in attendance. It was my first drag show, and I live sang, because I was like, I'm like, why do a little bit when I can do all of the things?
You plunged in.
I was like, bro. So I did a mix of, and I actually did this mix myself. So like, I don't know how I did it. Now I always get Alex to do my mixes, because I'm like, I can't do shit. I've butchered them so badly, but that was my first time at doing a mix where I did All I Want for Christmas Is You, the very, very beginning, where there's really no music. It's like a cappella. And then right when the music starts to go up, I went into the Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays by NSYNC. So then I live sang that part, because I was like, I really wanted to do a guy version, but I really liked the very beginning of All I Want for Christmas Is You. So like, and I feel like that threw people off, because then they thought I was going to sing that, and I was like, no, it's NSYNC,
you got
motherfucker. Yeah, boy band. You just got boy band. But yeah.
I love when the debuts end up being in like well established shows, because at that time like Night of
Yeah.
Lights had a pretty good build up with like when Miles
Oh,
started
yeah.
getting involved and stuff like that, and bringing drag into that show, because it wasn't always that it was a dance.
It wasn't,
show.
yeah, and
Yeah.
at that time, I remember because I think it was Miles was working with Roxy at that time about getting drag in there. So I think I was one of the first. I was in one of the. I know I might have been one of the people that was first into that, because I remember they were in talks around when I first met Miles, and that was around, I think, September or October. So there might have been 1 or 2 months prior to that December that there might have been drag shows at the Night of Lights, but it was still like oh my God, this is crazy. And I was like, really? I could just go in. And it was good. I had like an in, it was like, I knew Miles, they were creating, and they're like, yeah, you could just do it. And I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. I'm like, I guess. I was like so nervous, and I was like shit myself, but it worked out great. Everyone loved it. My mom loved it. It was fun. So yeah.
Do you have a standout song where if you weren't you and you heard this song out in public, you would go, Omari? Like, if like, let's just like for me, for example, if I hear Leave the Door Open, I feel like anytime I hear like those songs, or even not Uptown Funk, but 24 Karat Magic and stuff like that, I hear like that and I go, Omari. But now I hear Dance With You and I go,
oh yeah,
Omari, 100%. Because here's the thing, like, if it wasn't for you getting me to work on this
do that mix,
I would have never discovered that, because I was familiar.
You didn't even know that song
I
before.
did not know that song.
Oh shit.
I knew Next because it was, listen, my family is the most, I was raised in a house with country, and it was because of Much Music I got to learn other types of music, or else I'd probably be like a country bumpkin with a damn hat and a yeehaw. I'm happy I'm not, but I'm
nothing wrong with a little yeehaw.
There's nothing wrong with a little yeehaw.
Beyonce's gone country, so
I'm the cow, not the cowboy, okay? But no, yeah. Okay. But yeah, no, hearing that song, and I was just like, wow, I was really digging it. And the rest of the mix too, like I was familiar with like Usher's like hits. So like hearing
because that was Caught Up.
Yeah, hearing Caught Up. Yeah. I was like, I know this song, great. But also it made me sort of like dig into these artists' discographies and like listen to their other stuff. This shit's really good.
And so Dance With Me is 112. Yeah, like I really love 112 songs, Peaches and Cream, and like Dance With Me, it's like such like a and I might do Peaches, like I think I've done Peaches and Cream as well.
To kind of go back on the I guess lack of representation of kings, or like people not really knowing what a drag king is. So I already knew of Swizzles because of Fiona. Fiona and I go as far back as high school, and Nat actually has known Fiona since kindergarten.
Oh damn!
So like the roots run deep. So we found out after high school that Fiona was starting drag and stuff like that. So we knew of Swizzles. We got to go see one of their anniversary shows. I came out a lot later in life as like bi/pan, but leaning more towards pan. And I said to Nat, I'm like, I want to go and explore that community. So it led me to Swizzles. When I went to Swizzles that night, like literally I came out, and I feel like a week later I said to Nat, I'm like, we should just go out and see what the community is like, because I hadn't really dipped my toes into that sort of water. So we walk in there, and it was, you were performing, and I believe Jack and Spicy were also performing there, and I think I only met Ben at the Night of Lights, because we went like Thursday, what's coming up, Night of Lights, and we went to that show. So like you, them, and I think Miles and Oliver were like the first drag kings I had ever seen. And I was like, this is fucking crazy, because I'm like, not only am I experiencing a whole other thing, and I'm learning, because again, you come in with the assumption that drag is automatically queens, but like I don't want to say like I felt seen, but I felt like there was definitely room for me to have some sort of acceptance if I was to go and step into this industry. Because the thing is that I explored the whole queen vibe before actually becoming a king. Because I went to Nikki P's house actually.
Oh yeah.
And so it was me, Nikki, Josephine J, and Morgan Morbid, and they were like, "Can we split your face down the middle and each do one side to see what makeup you vibe with?"
Oh, that's such an interesting way to kind of like just not to do the whole face, just like half a face.
Yeah. So me being like bald and stuff like that, and I'm like, I'm a blank canvas. Go for it. Do whatever you want. I got to see this and I went, wow, like I'm definitely digging this. But it wasn't until I went to Ben's place and I said, hey, do you want to put me in King Drag? Obviously, Ben jumped on that. And literally, we finished the face and he goes, put this jacket on. I go into the mirror and I went, this is it.
You're like,
this is where I need to be.
Yeah.
And like everything sort of like launched. After that, like I was very fortunate that my debut was at a Thursday show, so it's like I'm already in a well-established show. It's a paid gig, which obviously is not something that's really as common for new performers to start with. A lot of people, because back then we had the open stages. Speaking of like performing, well, obviously we have been talking about performing
the whole time.
You got to be part of Capital Pride. Which is fucking huge because it's an award. And
the pageant.
You get an award if you win. There's like you're strutting your stuff. You're doing big numbers because I know that you specifically, and it's not every performer that does this, but you had a lot of dancers. You had choreo. You had a vision for what you wanted things to sound like and look like. Was there obviously there's stress involved when it comes to this, but did it feel more did it come to you more naturally how you wanted to do things this year compared to when you when you did it the first time, like when you won versus your step down?
I'm gonna correct you on a few things because the first time I didn't win.
Oh, you did it more than once.
Yeah, I did it. Yes.
Okay, let's go.
So I did it twice. So I was in the pageant for 2022.
Okay.
And I lost to Dr. Androbox. That was, so I'd like to take you back on that because that was like, I was encouraged to apply and like I had my really great friend Sally Lakes help me through kind of getting me to where I need to go. But like I did not know what the fuck I was getting myself into.
Yeah.
I did not know how much people brought and how much I would need to really step up what I normally do because I'm going to be real. My drag is very much like I pick a song, I do it, and I dance, and that's it. Like, I don't do choreography for the most part on most of my shows, if people have noticed. A lot of it is just me just kind of freestyling.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this was a lot. And, it was really eye-opening because the first time that I did it in 2022, I was like, okay, and I lost. I was like, okay, so I see why I lost. Because I didn't have a clear like vision or a clear concept of what I wanted for my performance piece.
Okay.
And that's a note to anybody who is going to be performing in the future is for the pageant to always for your performance have a concept, have an idea. And I think you even looking back on the past shows, especially last year's, I think last year's everyone, you can look and everyone, you know exactly what theme or what concept they had for their performance and it makes it clear and it makes it harder for the judges. So that's what I kind of regretted in the first one, but it helped me because then it helped me be more focused for the second one. And I was like, okay, I'm going to level up.
Yeah.
Like Sierra says, level up, level up, level up, level up. So, so I did that. So, and that was 2023. So then obviously I won that, which was great.
I was there to see that. Yeah.
And then I had like a crazy year of just like being booked. I did have a crazy year of being booked a lot. It's tough. When you do it so often and you do like shows a couple times a month, like sometimes I was doing, sometimes I was doing like 2, sometimes 3 shows in a month, which sometimes it doesn't sound like too crazy, but sometimes they're like all together.
Especially
And
when you have
sometimes
like a
that's a
full-time
lot.
job and stuff like that.
Yes,
Like
I had a
it's,
full-time job, yo.
yeah,
Like it was a lot. And then like personal life, and I had a relationship at the time. So it was like there was lots of trying to like balance, and it wasn't great at I wasn't great at balancing that. So I had that year, which was great. And then now I'm at a point where I really went hard at Pride last year. So when it was once after you win, they ask you to come back to do a step down performance.
right.
So that's where it was the less stressful.
Yeah, because you're
Because
like, you have
I
nothing
was
to
like,
prove.
I'm like, we fuck up.
Yeah, I already
Don't
won.
care.
I got
I'm
the
like,
crown.
I don't
I got
care.
the sash.
Exactly. What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? Tell me I can't come back next year? Because I can't. So that's fine. It's a one and done thing. I signed a contract. We cannot, unfortunately. I double checked it because people were telling me that, like, oh, you could just reapply. I'm like, no. In previous years, they did have a thing where I think you could come back. But it was very much like, if you win, you cannot compete in that category. So
Which is
I would
totally
have
fair.
to be,
Yeah.
I would have to be like MX or a drag queen if I wanted to do it again. And we already know the heels
I was gonna
and
say,
the dress.
are you expecting
Not
something?
doing it. No. I know. It's like, I'm gonna reveal it today.
Yeah.
I'm gonna enter. No. So that's why that one was less stressful, but I probably put the most money into that one because I got a choreo in the step down one. Yeah.
wow.
Because I was like, I wanted to really do something different.
Go out
And
with a
because
bang.
and because I was doing a lot of like Latin dancing in my personal life in that year previous, because I'm coming up to almost 2 years of doing Latin dancing. I'm like, you know what? I want to like incorporate that into my drag because that's also part of who I am now. The drag is who I am, and then also the Latin music and the Latin dancing. So I got a choreographer and got dancers to kind of be in the show.
I know I'm gonna be biased saying this because I had a helping hand in everything, but in the music, anyways. But that performance was amazing. I got to see it twice because what people
That
don't
was a big
realize,
thing.
you get to do it twice. You do it on the main stage during Capital Pride, but you also do it on the NAC stage during the pageant.
Mm-hmm.
So like, what's great about that too is that you work out the bugs from the pageant one, so that's even better on the main stage. And I gotta say, it was that for me this year's Capital Pride in general was a pretty big milestone for me because I wasn't just your music, I was also Zach's music. So I got to see two people. I got to see the work that I also put in being shown to thousands of people because the NAC fits an enormous amount of people.
Yeah.
But what people don't realize is that the main stage can fit up to about 3,000 people squished because you got the tents and the machinery and whatever.
Yeah.
But like again, that's a lot more people than if I would have put it on YouTube, for example. So that was incredible to be a part of that. So thank you for trusting me to do that.
Of course, I know we had a lot of time of just kind of because I had to there was certain parts of the songs that I wanted because especially with the step down, it's like I don't know Spanish. Yeah. But the music that I wanted it to be the music vibe, or like bachata music or salsa. So I had to find a bachata song that had English in it. So I found one that had Usher and I can't remember the other guy's name. I'm not going to say it because I think I forgot it. But anyway, so
way past forever. Yeah.
So like I had that, and then there was the Mark Anthony and the Malumo song, and it was just I think you stripped the music, you stripped the vocals of it, and Technology. It was just that was the salsa part because that was really important to kind of incorporate that because the bachata and salsa dance styles are the ones that I've kind of worked the longest on kind of doing. So I was like, yeah, let's do this. And it was so fun.
Yeah,
It was great. Everyone,
was
I feel like, loved
incredible.
it. They weren't expecting this. And I wanted that. I wanted it to be a bit of a shocker, to be like, yeah, you thought I was just coming out to do like some Neo or some like Bruno Mars and shit.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, technically, I did come out. It was Neo. But then I was like,
oh yeah, the whole like being outside the club sort of like, or
I know,
the
I had
dream
a big
sequence or
concept.
whatever. It
Yes,
was great.
that was what I was like. God help me. I don't know if everyone got the concept, but in the concept, that was me in my head. It was
Yeah.
like supposed to be club vibes. We're supposed to be there. Me and Rajan, the mask men, like, yo, we're like, poor Rajan. He's like, yo, I don't know if I can pull this off.
It's kind of giving like Michael Jackson and Chris Tucker and You Rock My World being like, ooh, she fine over there. Like,
I know.
I'm gonna get her.
Yeah,
Like,
that's so true. Yeah.
That's
I
what
forgot
I was
about
getting.
that. Yeah.
I love that. So the drag scene has changed. You mentioned before that now you're noticing more diversity in terms of like representation, but also the categories of drag styles that are in shows, like with the Kings and the Queens and the MX. Right?
Yeah.
As a Black artist, I know you don't necessarily represent all the POCs that are out there, but being one of them, what do you think that shows could do in terms of like not coming off as tokenism?
When it comes to having other performers of other ethnicities or other races, yeah, it is tough because Ottawa has, in proportion to the available artists, it has a low amount of BIPOC representation when it comes to Kings, Queens, and MX performers. That is a given. Anyone will state that is the case. But I think what it is that when I read these other posts, or even what I kind of believe myself, is that, there's enough of the BIPOC community to have representation almost at every show.
Absolutely.
Especially if you have a monthly show, there's 12 BIPOC performers in the King, Queen, and MX performers. Yeah. So why aren't they being shown, or why aren't they being showcased? Right. It doesn't necessarily have to be a one-off show where it's like, okay, this one show, we're going to do all the BIPOC performers in one show, and then we're not going to do it for the rest of the show. The rest of the year, as nice as that gesture might look to a degree, I don't think it's a way of incorporating.
I hate the one-off shows when it's not. So, for example, like let's just say you were to do a show and it's like, okay, cool, we're gonna do like an all-black show, for example,
like a showcase or something.
But then you never see another Black artist throughout the entire year. That's definitely a red flag for me.
Yeah.
And I that's what I'm getting from what you're explaining as well. Another great example that we have is Black History Month. Fleshless Creatures will do like they did Sequence and Soul that one year, which was an amazing show. But again, they have that representation with their other shows too, so it's not
constantly just, I think for the most part, and I know Sally and BJ closely, like I know that they really work very hard to try and have that representation as much as possible.
Absolutely.
To have a very diverse cast, so it's not that it's every time of that, and I know there's one coming up for February as well. So I'm excited for that show. I've already kind of heard a few talks about what's going to happen there. So I'm excited for that. But I think it's good that there are shows that will do that, and I get that. Black History Month, it makes sense. And to have someone do it as like a takeover, which I'm not going to, because I'm sure they're going to want to launch it, but I know there's one person who is going to be kind of doing it as a takeover, and they're going to take it over. But it's nice to be able to see that, because then it's like, oh, okay, like this is pretty this will be pretty kind of cool to see them kind of take it on and kind of create something within that. But to see it constantly, and I'm also like, I also help out Luscious Creatures on the like the back end side where I'm like either kitten or door or something in the back. So like I'm constantly there as well. But just because I'm close friends with them. But yeah, no, it is good to see that. So that's my thing, is that I think a lot of shows or some shows will have it where there's not that representation.
Yeah.
And there could be reasons as to why that representation is not there, but I think more effort needs to be done.
I agree.
I do believe that, regardless of, yes, kings, queens, MX performers, especially if your show caters to all three.
Yeah.
Then that's great, because
then
you have more than enough opportunities.
Absolutely.
What we struggle with Capital Kingdom is that with the BIPOC community, there's not many.
There are not many kings.
Yeah. And like, you know, there's already 2/3 of the Capital Kingdom is BIPOC.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So we're already the producers of the show. So the majority of our show is already run by BIPOC. So it's like it makes it so. And I know there are some other kings, but it's you know, it's difficult kind of knowing that. For now, we don't really have a large span to kind of kings to go with.
Yeah.
So it makes, you know, it does sometimes make it a little bit more difficult, especially wanting to champion and wanting to support the community. But we also want to keep the Capital Kingdom as a king show, because kings sometimes don't always there's some kings that don't get to perform at a lot of other shows. So we are trying to make it so that there is this space dedicated just for them, but it makes it so that we're kind of singling out everyone else and not having that representation that we could if we opened it up to MX.
I like these specific shows. Yes, I get it. The community is all about inclusivity, but having sort of those exclusive shows in terms of like what I wouldn't say like the theme, but like you guys are a king specific show. You know, I like that. You know, Edith did an MX specific show once at Lookout. That was great.
But no, I get you. Yeah, like I think it's good. I think there are opportunities with different shows, and I think as long as the ask or the hope is that it's not, because I feel like the one-off shows and there's not that representation, or there's not that need to try and fill a spot with someone who might be a BIPOC, that's where it feels a little discouraging or frustrating, right? When there's, especially, you know, sometimes, you know, people drop out of shows and stuff like that. It's like giving it to someone who potentially is a BIPOC, or someone who maybe hasn't had many opportunities. That would be ideal, right?
Absolutely.
So it's tough, you know, sometimes to see that, but I think as long as producers there is a willingness to continue to try and do better. You know, no one is asking people to be like on it and be like, okay, this is what we're gonna do, but at least as you have made efforts and you're trying to increase and make yourself more aware, and not feel like we have to like teach you how to do it. It's like, just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. Just do what you think is best. Like, just try and advocate for this community and these people that don't always necessarily get the representation or the opportunities. So like fight for that. So that's really what it's about. You know, everyone's human. People make mistakes. It's, you know, as long as you try.
Absolutely.
that's coming from me. That's not coming. I don't know anybody else who's
I'm
posted
Omari, and I
anything or
approve
did
this
anything.
message.
Yeah. Exactly. You know, I'm just like, yeah. So whatever happens.
So there's a couple of other things that I want to finish off with because we're pretty much at the end of this.
Okay.
Drag kids. Do you have any?
You know,
Omari has all the kids.
no, opposite. I have 0 children.
You are not the father.
I am not. Yes. Oh my gosh, Maury. Okay. Yeah, no, I have not really I haven't really prescribed to that notion.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not to say a lot of responsibility, but it's just not something that I felt comfortable with because I had only just recently got into it. So I was like, I feel like I need to be well established. So I feel pretty well established now where in theory I could be like, oh yeah, I probably feel like I have enough experience that I could be a drag parent because I wouldn't want to be a drag parent without having enough experience.
I feel like that's the key thing, yeah.
But now I'm very much to like, I'm good at, as a drag parent, I feel like it might be a little bit harder for me because it would almost be like I would want it to be someone who might be from like a BIPOC performer.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because, you know, it's a little different for me. You know, I'd want to kind of encourage or level up someone who might be from that community. But I don't know if that's necessarily my goal in life.
Yeah,
in that sense, I'm good. I'm good to just, if people reach out to me and they have questions, then I help them out, right? Like if someone came up to me and was like, I want to like do this, like what do you think I should do? Like I've reached out. I remember once I hope they'll be okay with me saying this, but Lover B, when they started to come, were thinking of creating, they reached out to me on Instagram being like, hey, can we like meet to kind of figure all of this out?
Yeah,
and
you guys
I was
do
like,
an
yeah,
amazing
sure.
number, by the way. Like
they're
the number
kind of
with
Palestinian number.
Yeah, that is
me and Joe and
that is so hard hitting because it's like I feel like, yes, the news does a pretty decent job in terms of like putting the quote unquote truth like in your face, but like seeing it like that is more impactful in my opinion.
Well, yes, because what I do feel is that the news does not represent very well. They are very, without getting too political, I feel like they're very careful with the words that they say on this particular topic. So that is, I think, a frustrating part of that. But yes, no. So they reached out, and we were very much like, yeah, we'd really like. So they reached out and we met up and kind of talked about what their concept for drag was. Were they going to be King, MX? Like, what did they thought? And it was kind of an evolving process. But like, I met up with them and we chatted and then all of a sudden they started. I think it was like last year around this time probably.
So Lover B would be like your closest thing to a drag kid if you were to put a
probably
label. Yeah,
exactly. Like I you know, I'm not putting a label on that. You're trying to get me to give an exclusive. What's going on? But no, I feel like it was more so. It was just a meetup, a conversation. Like what do you think? Almost like an interview. Almost. It's like, what did you find? Like, what helped? What didn't help? Like, should I do this? Should I do that?
Yeah.
And like, it was just that, and it was more like not necessarily like mentorship, but like just a conversation. Just providing some insight to what knowledge that I might have had.
Yeah.
And then they kind of ran with it. So now they're like doing their thing and they're just killing it.
Yeah, they are.
And
absolutely.
it's amazing watching them perform and stuff. I'm loving it. So that's the kind of thing. It's like I'm better at those like one-offs. Like if someone wants to meet up and we can chat about this, you want to meet up another time, we can chat about this performance if you have, or like concept, we can do that. Or like, and even I know, speaking of that, I know BJ is having kind of like a three week kind of
workshop,
workshop where it's talking about like makeup and dancing and all that kind of stuff. And I'm hoping I can be involved in one of them. One of them happens to be on my birthday, and I think that's the one that they want me for. So we'll see. I don't know if I'm gonna do anything about my birthday, but we'll kind of see. But I think for that, it's like that's great too, because it's like it's giving people some insight of like what to do when you're doing drag, or how to do the makeup, or how to do this movement and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's good having that. So I'm better at those type of things if it's a one-off, or if it's like a workshop that people can attend and learn a bit more without me taking on one person specifically. I'd rather just like give it to everybody.
I really hope that's awesome. I really
I'm a giver.
I really hope that if you do end up getting involved in it, that it will inspire other BIPOC people to sort of go in there, because I feel like as a public figure, there's that chance that what you do sparks something in somebody else, right? And
I would hope to a degree. It would be nice, yeah.
I would like that too, because it's like it's again it's a small market. It should be bigger, but again, it's like you get.
Yeah. It's true. It's very much like you can only do what you can do, right? You can't pull people from nowhere and be like, you're gonna do drag because I want you to do a king. Like people
an
have
Uncle
to
Sam
be
poster, but it's all drag.
Yeah,
like, I want you to start drag right now. Let's go.
But like people have to be interested and want it. So I think if someone who was, and this I'll say too, is that if there's any BIPOC performer or Black performer, even more specifically, a person that is thinking of getting into drag, maybe more specifically drag king, because that's probably where I have more information on. But I guess drag in general, if you have any questions, I can reach out to me.
Yeah,
basically, like reach out to me, or or if it's you're interested in Queens or MX performers, then I can. I can reach out to some other performers to kind of see other BIPOC or Black performers who might want who might be able to kind of help and maybe kind of take a person under their kind of wing, or just give you some information. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a drag mom or dad type of situation. It just could be what can you do? What should you do? What are some things to kind of start getting into it and kind of go from there? Because sometimes it's a little scary if you're trying to come and do it on your own and not have that experience or have that support system to be like, hey, like you might want to do this first. Okay, you want to think of like your concept first, because then you'll know what kind of makeup and then outfits, and then try to do this, and
it's
then
different
the rhinestoning
for everybody.
And yeah. So it's like, that's I think the big thing. But I like having what's going to happen with these workshops, and I've always thought of also conceptually like having some type of a workshop as well to help people with these kind of things, because I think there are some people, and especially because there's so many drag kings, I feel like that are coming into the scene that are maybe newer drag kings that might benefit from having some additional knowledge from people who, like myself or Miles, who might have been doing it for a while. That might be able to kind of shed some light on performance techniques or tips when it comes to makeup and all that kind of stuff.
I totally get that. So Morgan Morbid is my drag daughter, and it's really shocking to a lot of people because Morgan is just so the opposite of me.
She's so sweet.
But like with her, I don't do what a drag parent would typically do. So like BJ and I actually had this conversation at professional night. They were like, what do you contribute to this person to be their drag parent, right? And I go, well, with Morgan, I don't give makeup tips because they're so fantastic at doing it.
Their makeup is on point.
I don't give any wig
Morgan,
advice because they do all their own wigs. They style and
they
whatever.
Wigs, yes.
I said I don't give opinions on outfits, but what I do thrive in is I help them with their music like I would anybody else. We have that emotional connection because we're actually best friends out of this. Like, they're one of my best friends.
Wow,
Oh yeah, we talk all the time. We game all the time. We share the same brain. We have that extra connection too because we're both French, which a lot of people do not know about that about me.
Yeah,
is
I didn't
that
know you're
French is my first language, and then English came after. But
that's insane.
I've been pretty good at like blending it. In the early
especially
days.
Especially if you don't have an accent. You don't have a clear accent, where some people have a very clear accent where you're just like, they're speaking English and I'm like, you're French. They're like, I know you. I see you there.
The last thing I want to talk about, so we can wrap this up. So you have all of these cool achievements under your belt. Creator, co-producer, you're a title winner and all these things.
Yeah.
Has that given you new opportunities or more opportunities in terms of not necessarily, well, I guess specifically with the bookings and stuff like that, but I know that, when you apply to things, they take you in as just like another applicant, but do you think that there's a bit of an advantage having all of these things in terms of how you go about picking what you are applying for, or if people are reaching out to you, for example, to be part of their shows?
Yeah, I think, for sure. I think before I was in the pageant, I definitely had to like reach out to people to be part of shows, and it actually was pretty tough. It wasn't as easy as people would normally think. So I felt that struggle because they don't know who I am. They don't know. And I was newer to the city, so they also didn't know literally who I was. So there was that. But I feel like now it does come a bit easier going and getting shows and stuff like that. A lot of the times just for myself, because for me, I have to try and balance my life.
Yeah.
So right now, any shows that I'm in are shows other than Capital Kingdom. They're shows that people ask me to go into. Because I, for probably the past year, haven't asked to be in a show. Only because, only because I'm like, I don't want to put myself to a point where I'm like doing too much. Yeah. Because that's what I was at the beginning. I was like very much like, oh, I'll do all the shows and like, hey, like da-da-da-da. But now I'm like, no. I'm like, I have too much other things going on. I'm like it's easier if people come to me and say, do you want to do a show? Then I can be like, yes or no. And then I have my own personal time to do my other things. But I'm going to be real, is that after this past year for Pride, I think I really burnt myself out a bit.
Yeah, because I think you were gone for a little bit, or that you were like not necessarily like rejecting, but you weren't on stage. You were more in the crowd, I would feel.
Yeah, like, well, and during Pride last year, I remember there was one day in particular I had 4 shows. I had 4 gigs in one day. And then not to mention the week previous, and then the week after was busy. So like there was a lot of shows happening during Pride, and then the week after the Pride weekend, I went to Calgary to do a bunch of Calgary stuff because it was Calgary's Pride during the long weekend in September, the Labor Day weekend. So there was also that, and I was like, okay. I'm like, I'm flying in, doing a show, doing this, then flying back, then having to work the rest of the week. I was like, okay, this is too much. So then I only then was doing 1 gig a month. So I'm finding now I'm liking that more so now that I'm able to
balance everything out.
Sit back, exactly, and take a breath because I'm also co-producing the Capital Kingdom. So it's like that also takes up a lot of time. We meet every other week, and we're constantly thinking of doing other things, and I'm reaching out to venues and stuff like that. So it's like, it's really hard to balance everything. So I am kind of not performing as much, so people aren't going to see me perform as much as I have in the past. I know after I won the pageant, it was very much like they ask you this when you are in the pageant process. They ask you like, what would you do, or if you were to win, how would this change your life, or what would you do in the community? So that was like very much like, yes, I want to be there. I want to show representation. I want to be in the crowds. But now I'm taking more of a step back, where now that I've won and that I've had that year, and now it's BJ's time. Like, BJ, you go. I'm like, bro. I'm like, I need a break. This is your year.
Don't call me, I'll call you.
This is your year. Yeah. I'm like, I need a solid break. So now I'm taking it easy. So I'm not performing as much. I'm doing a lot of behind the scenes, helping with Luscious Creatures shows. They're bi-monthly shows. So I'm doing a little bit more of that. I'm doing door, kitty, like doing all of these things that don't really require me dancing, but it still requires my persona in terms of Omari. So yeah. So I'm cool with doing that. I'm liking where things are going. I'm hoping to, possibly have some other things in the works. I'm trying to figure stuff out to have certain showcases and stuff. So I'm hoping I can pull something together for the spring, but we'll see.
I guess to end things off, I'm going to have your Instagram in the description of the episode to make sure that you're properly linked. Is there anything that you'd like to plug in terms of like general like shout outs or
oh my
whatnot?
God, this is like Wild Wind, the
Wild
hot ones. It's like, okay,
what do you have going on
this
in
one.
your life?
It's like, you got this camera. What's going on? Yeah, it's like, oh, not the other ones. Oh, okay, we're just focusing on this one camera. This one. Yeah. So what I got going on? I don't know. I don't think there's really much else that I really would like to say. I think Ottawa has come a long way with the different shows and venues of representing BIPOC communities, as well as the MX and the King community. So I'm really happy to see that is growing from when I first started, because I felt like I was one of the few number of performers. When I look at the list of drag kings that we have, a lot of them came after me.
Yeah.
So we're talking people within the last 5 years. So it's amazing to see that it's skyrocketed as much as it has. And I'm really happy for that. And I'm happy to be a part of the Capital Kingdom, and happy to have Joe and Miles along for the ride. They're definitely great support, and they're really great collaborators on these shows, and help me out, because I know I struggle with certain things, and we all kind of balance each other out to kind of help with different things. So that's really the only thing I have to say about that. We have a show coming up on January the 10th at Irene's Pub. I think that's a Sunday, second Sunday, it should be. And 12 o'clock. So
amazing.
I'm sure there'll be stuff about it, but yeah.
Keep an eye on Instagram.
Keep an eye on my social media, and also Capital Kingdom.
Yeah.
So also, yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being my first guest, and I appreciate your time and just chatting and getting to know you even more. And it's I got nothing but love. So.
Well, thank you for asking me. This is great. I haven't really done many podcasts, so this is a cool experience. So I like it. Yeah.
Thanks so much for listening to my podcast. This was such a great experience. I hope that more of you are wanting to come up on here, and keep an eye out on our Instagrams that are linked in the description for any more news. Take care.